Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. And I guess for where you might be in the world, it could be good evening. So welcome to the Jindal School of Management here at UT Dallas. I'm Dr. Monica Powell. I'm the Senior Associate Dean and Graduate Dean here at the Jindal School. And we are so excited that you've taken time out of your day to chat with us a little bit, as you are a very special set of students. You're students who were admitted to a previous semester and have decided to defer to spring of 2021. And we understand that for this particular audience, you have a unique set of questions and curiosities. So we're going to try and answer some of those questions today. We're also going to tell you about some very important upcoming webinars that are going to address course registration for spring 2021. But right now, today, we really want to get you excited about what happens in graduate school. And we're really fortunate to have a couple of students with us. We may have a third student join us who's coming a little bit late, but we're very fortunate to have Lindsay Wren. Lindsay is one of our co-leaders of the Dean's Council. She's an MS accounting student. She's going through an amazing internship right now and juggling classes, and we're right in the middle of midterms. Shashank is going to be joining us. We hope he can get his technology worked out and be with us this morning. He's an MS Management Science student. And then we are thrilled to have Aditi with us. She's an MS Business Analytics student, has been highly engaged in everything, and has an abundant personality. And we're just delighted to have three of our students with us. And then, of course, someone who is just the backbone of the needs of our incoming and continuing students is Karina Kentua. Karina is our director of our advising operation that helps you with everything that has to do with course registration and making sure you understand the classes and what you should take, when, and what's a prerequisite or a co-requisite, all of that kind of stuff. And she manages a very large team of students here, or not team of students, team of colleagues here that help advise the students. So let's get this underway and let's get you a little bit excited about what lies ahead for you as a graduate student in spring of 2021. So first, we're going to cover the agenda. Not a very lengthy agenda, but something that's going to whet your appetite for what's to come. We're going to be focusing on the student experience at the graduate level. I will tell you that here at the Jindal School, we probably have the most unique graduate school experience in America. And I would know that because I've been in this industry 34 years and I interface with colleagues like myself at other universities. And one of the things that those colleagues at other universities always stand in amazement of is how enriched and engaging the student experience here is at the Jindal School. You know, it's not just coming to graduate school and taking classes, going and getting an internship and getting a job and saying, thanks so much. When you come to graduate school at the Jindal School, you are coming into a family of experiences and the opportunity to get more than what is just in the classroom. And that is what really makes us unique. There are a lot of students, maybe your friends, who, think about going to a school in Boston or Chicago or LA, and then you come on here. Very shortly after that, we see a lot of those students will transfer and come to the Jindal School experience because it's not just about going to class alone. So we're really going to cover that. The classroom experience, student organizations, why we have an abundant number of internships and career support, and how we engage all kinds of students, not just international students, but local students. We have a lot of local, fully employed students who are also in classes, and they bring this great US-based experience to the discussion in concert with your work experience globally. So on this webinar today, we have international students who might be in Vietnam or South Korea or Bangalore, Mumbai or Paris. But we also have students who are joining us today who are coming to us right from the North Texas area or Indiana or Washington State. So we want to make everybody feel welcome and see how this wonderful blending of people from all around the world creates this really unique experience. We are going to answer some brief questions about the spring 2021 registration process, because I know many of you might have questions about that. And then, as always, when we do webinars, the focus is really on you, the student, and making sure that we're addressing the questions that you have. So Norma, who is the project manager here in the dean's office, she runs all the controls from behind the scenes. So Norma, let's get this show started, and let's move to the classroom experience, and let's hear from some of our students. So I will tell you that for spring, we have an abundant number of course offerings for the spring. And we'll be offering all types of classes and course instruction. They can be a little bit confusing, so I really want to go over what those are. And then what's really great is that we have some students with us who can talk about what that experience was like to take that type of class. So here this fall, we've had 5 modes of instruction. We've had traditional face-to-face classes where the professor and the students are in the room, of course, socially distanced and fully protected with masks as it relates to COVID-19. We have what we call hybrid classes, which means that part of the class is happening in the classroom at the slated class time. The other part of the class is happening outside of class in a remote way, where the faculty member might lecture from their office or from home, but that's happening at course time. The third option, which is also still a face-to-face option, is something that we call high flex or flexible. And what that means is we've taken the class, we divided you into groups, and the groups rotate in the class with the professor. So when you're not in the class with the professor, you're getting that through a streaming opportunity, but everybody is rotating through the class. The fourth type of mode of instruction is something we call remote. And that means that it's all being streamed to you. We're using Microsoft Teams. It's been working pretty well this fall, as we have literally hundreds of classes, probably thousands of classes at the university that are using this technology. And so if your class is Thursday at 4 p.m., then you get online Thursday at 4 p.m. and you take that class. The last mode of instruction is fully online. That means that you never meet face-to-face with the instructor unless you're meeting with them for office hours. It is a completely asynchronous experience. But any of these modes of instruction are also available asynchronously. So if you're a local student and you are working for Goldman Sachs and you normally have a class on Monday at 7 p.m. and you can't attend it because of circumstances at your home, you could attend that class either synchronously in a remote sense where you're dialing in and you're able to see that class live, or the professor is recording that class and you can watch it asynchronously. The university has been very, very committed to making sure that we offer instruction in ways that make it easy and less stressful for the students. Now, I can tell you, I teach, and this fall, my class has about 54 students in it. And I would tell you that about 40 of those 54 students are attending class with me when I teach class on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. There's another 14 of them. 3 of those are getting the class asynchronously because they happen to be in China. And the others are fully employed people that are either popping in during their regular working hours and taking their lunch break, or they are choosing to watch it asynchronously. So let's chat with our students. Shashant, hi, welcome. We're so glad you're with us today. So I'm going to start by asking a few questions, a couple of our students that are here. So be sure to mute your microphone so we don't get any feedback, and turn your microphone on when you respond to the question, and I'll let you know who's answering the question. So Lindsay, can you tell us what the class experience has been like here in the Jindal School this fall, and how it's been highly engaging and demanding and rigorous, just like a regular class?
Sure. Well, I'm taking 2 classes right now, like school classes, and as an international student, I also have an internship, which also come in my degree plan as a class. And two of my class, one of them is cybersecurity fundamentals. The professor is really funny, and the whole concept, I personally think the whole concept of cybersecurity is pretty hard for me because I don't have any IT background, but he made it pretty easy. And this class is, I believe it's flexible mode, so some of our classmates, they can take it in the classroom, and I just take it at home so I can be in my like shirts and whatever. I think that's why I take most of my classes at home. Also because for like engagement with the professor, actually the professor mentioned that a lot of our classes get more engagement because people are not afraid to talk out loud in the chats. Not because like when you're in a classroom, you have to raise your hand and everybody look at you. But when you're talking in the chats, it's just very free. Like it feels like there's no any barrier between anybody. And mostly we use e-learning Blackboard. There's one time the e-learning failed, so we can transfer it to Microsoft Teams, and that works pretty well too. And I have another class with Aditi. It was social media business, and we have that class fully online. And I think for if you want to reach a professor, the best thing you can do is to email him. Then you can set up a chat with Microsoft Teams. It's just kind of like a chat software, like a Facebook message or like WeChat. You can just FaceTime somebody, and it's just very easy. And I personally really like this, although we don't have a lot of personal engagement, like interaction, but I think this is very convenient. It saves me a lot of commute time.
Yeah, and you know, for those of you that are watching this session, Lindsay is a double MS degree. So she's doing accounting and information technology management. So she's carrying quite a load balancing an internship on top of all of that. You know, professors are telling the dean's office quite regularly that classes are running long because there's so much engagement with the people that are in the room with them, plus the people that are online with them. You know, a class is supposed to run an hour, is going an hour and a half. My own class is going about 30 minutes over because I think, to Lindsay's point, there's a tremendous amount of engagement from wherever the student might be, whether it's in class or out of class. So Aditi, have you been able to connect with your professors outside of class this semester, and how available have they been?
So as Lindsay said that some of my professors, like not some, like I've taken 3 classes, and for me, fortunately, all 3 of them are quite supportive. So as Lindsay said, you just need to email them and set up a schedule for yourself. Uh, Although like you can ask your particular questions during the class time as well, but you know, if you have something which you can't ask in front of your other friends, or maybe you just don't want to go public, you can for sure set a separate time for a one-on-one chat with the professor. And I guess they're quite flexible with the time because they know as well that we have our own internships, or maybe some of our classes have assignments due, midterms due. Like we have a midterms due this week and the following week. So they are quite flexible for setting up chats, and they're quite prompt in answering our emails. Like we need not wait like for a week to get our queries answered. So it's going good so far.
Well, that's really good to hear. You know, it's really amazing how the stigma associated with being visible has gone away when you're in this combined virtual face-to-face environment. And we've seen the engagement really kind of through the roof. So let's move on to the next slide. And let's look a little bit at student organizations, because that really is where the life of the school happens. We have such a strong multitude of different degree program options. On the MS side, we have 12 MS programs, and then we have multiple offerings of the MBA. And we have many students, both local students and international students, that end up getting 2 degrees while they are here. There's some real benefit in doing that because you can cross-count courses from one degree to the next degree. So you really end up taking fewer total credit hours to achieve getting multiple degrees. So that is not uncommon. The other real cool advantage of the school is our thriving student organizations. We have over 70 of them. If you were to go to the UT Dallas Gendall website, the main page, and you were to choose resources on the navigation bar and then choose student organizations, all of these 71 come up, and you can read descriptions of them. You can contact the faculty advisor. Now, one would think that the student organizations would go dormant in a COVID world. Oh my gosh, has that not been the case? Because of maybe who I am or where I'm positioned in the school as the graduate dean, I get invited to go to just about every single student org event, and I try to drop into all of them when I can, when I don't have a conflict with another meeting. And I go into these sessions and they've got, the head guy at Deloitte or the head guy at Goldman Sachs or the supply chain, VP at Walmart, and they'll have 70 students present in these student org situations. Now, I bet that all three of these students can speak to their experience in student orgs. So, Shashant, have you been involved in student orgs, and can you talk a little bit about what that's like in COVID times?
Yes, absolutely. Firstly, I'd like to apologize for the delay. I don't know why there's some technical snag.
No.
So from the first, I came here in spring of 19. So from that point of time, I've been a part of student organizations. And right now also I'm a part of course, the Dean's Council and also the Internal Student Chapter. So uh, in COVID, during this time, of course, the engagement has become virtual, but it is no less productive. I mean, it is highly productive. It is highly helpful even today. You get various companies who come to those particular student organizations, and you can interact with them. You get one-on-one time with them. So there are these meeting spaces in the virtual platform wherein you can have conversations with the recruiters or managers and get to know their perspective and understand how are you a good fit for that particular organization. And also in terms of engagement with fellow students, that also has great potential in the virtual environment, because you get to speak to a lot of people, you get to speak to a lot of students who are working with you, who have different responsibilities, so you can actually contribute and engage together and hopefully help others in the club, as well as uh, make better opportunities for yourself.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We have 150 different career management events that are going on this fall here in the Gendall School. We are by university rule required to do those all virtually. The amount of participation by students is absolutely through the roof. But the real shocking part of all of this is that because we are living in a COVID world, and you are wherever you happen to be in the world, or if you're here in North Texas, it's interesting how employers are embracing this virtual environment. They are coming in droves. Now, typically employers are going to limit their travel to universities to do face-to-face events because they're limited by travel. They can only go to so many universities. But when you don't have travel as a factor, these employers are coming out of the woodwork because they can go to so many more schools. And because we are a very large graduate program, we're probably size-wise in the top 10 in terms of size in the United States for graduate business programs. We have huge volume. Employers like to go to places where they can talk to and interface with a ton of students. And you wouldn't think that it would happen in a virtual way, but I was visiting the data science club and the consulting club recently. I popped in to see what was going on. Oh my gosh, I mean, these student organizations are still setting up student competitions, case competitions with, awards like $10,000 for the winner, and the exposure that these students are getting to these organizations. The employers are coming back after the fact and saying, hey, Dr. Powell, I had a chance to observe so-and-so and so-and-so. I am so impressed. Can you have them reach out to me? So this kind of exposure is giving our students a penetration into the employment market that is really phenomenal. And you would think that there wouldn't be internship opportunities in a COVID world, but that has not been the case. When COVID first hit and shelter in place happened in the United States in mid-March, I can tell you there were a lot of students who lost their internships for summer. But very quickly, the employers realized that they couldn't live without the student interns. So the number of virtual internships is really rather unbelievable. So Lindsay, you're one of the co-leaders of the Dean's Council, and Shashank, I know you're on the Dean's Council as well. But Lindsay, can you talk about what's your favorite part of being involved in the Dean's Council? Because you're one of the co-leaders directing everything that's getting done.
Sure. I personally think being in the Dean's Council, the most fantastic thing is that you can engage with students from all kinds of majors. Okay, so because I'm in accounting major, the most people I deal with are also accounting major. Everybody's just talking about numbers. But when you join the Dean's Council, you can see so many people talking about MBA program, and they have so many fun competition like that, and you didn't realize how proud you are just as a student in JSOM, knowing how many awesome programs there are, and getting to know other people's competition, getting to know other programs makes you expand your connections, of course, and just expand your horizon and broaden your eyesight. It just feels so amazing.
I love the way that you said that. I tell this story every once in a while about a student she was actually from China, and she was on the Dean's Council, and she was amazing. She happened to be graduating a little bit off schedule, and she was graduating at the end of summer. And at the end of summer, we don't have a commencement ceremony for the university, so the Jindal School holds a graduation celebration for all of our graduates because we're excited for them. So when she went to go to the graduation reception, about 6 of her Dean's Council friends came, and they were from every degree program imaginable. It was like the United Nations. A couple of them were, United States citizens. One of them was from South Korea. She was from China. One of them was from Paris. And they showed up to surprise her. And she would have never made those relationships if it weren't for a student organization like the Dean's Council. So I think it really adds a lot of enrichment. So Norma, let's turn the slide and look at internships and career support. Probably the number one complaint that I hear in my office is, why are you making me take professional development as a program prerequisite? I see some smiles from Aditi and Shashank. So I want to know, Aditi, can you talk about how that course, you may not have wanted to take it, but at the end you were like, oh my God, I'm so glad I took this course. So Aditi, can you talk about the professional development class and why this is so important for all students, whether they are international or local?
Oh my God, Dr. Powell, I cannot stress more on the fact of taking this particular course of professional development, especially for international students. So a little bit about myself. Since I just graduated from my bachelor's degree back in India, and I just hopped in for my master's right here, I was honestly not well aware with the American work culture or maybe the resume templates. And then I didn't even know what was LinkedIn, what was it used for. And then I can proudly say that I have learned a lot of these stuff mainly because of this professional development class, because if not this class, I wouldn't have gotten an internal push to just go on LinkedIn or maybe be good with your interview skills or whatsoever. So this class is basically a 1 credit class, which is compulsory for all the international students. And maybe at the beginning of the class, you'll just be like, this isn't that important. It's just like a 1 credit course. It's okay even if we don't do it. But one good thing that they have come up with that is the attendance is compulsory for, I think, 80 or 90% of the classes, which I feel at this point is very essential. So starting from the resume templates to the interview skills, or even knowing and going over LinkedIn, this class has helped me grow professionally, because I just was a normal girl who came from India to US, and this class has really taught me how to deal with people, especially over here. You know, like the small talks, like I didn't know what small talks were, but like I can proudly say that I'm good over this, and I'm really thankful to all these staff and especially my professors of professional development class who have trained me do this. So yeah, like I would suggest all you guys who are going to come here for the spring semester that do not take this class lightly, feeling that there's something more important lying ahead of us. But this is an invisible opportunity for you to learn what is really required for you, and you need to do your best to thrive in a state, in a country where there's a lot of competition. So just don't take this class lightly. Be like full of engagement. Like it may seem silly at this point, like because I had felt the same when I was at your place a year back, but it's important. Like I cannot stress over the fact, learn the LinkedIn skills, talk to your professors, be in their community, like help them, help the other students as well, because it's required. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's required as a program prerequisite for all of our
Yes.
MS programs, whether you're US or international student. There are some waiver opportunities if you have prior work experience, so you can certainly look into those. But I will tell you that I'm teaching one section of that this semester, and I have about 55% are international students, 45% of them are domestic students. And it's very interesting that how you're taught to look for a job as an undergrad is very different than how you are taught to look for a position or an internship as a graduate student. Resumes, employers have certain expectations for resumes, and networking is everything. And whether you are a local student or an international student, you can apply until you're blue in the face. But if you don't do the networking that is necessary, and now that networking is 100% virtual for the time being, that's really critical. So Shashank, let me ask you, can you talk about where your classmates and folks have been most successful in finding internships? What the best resource has been?
Yeah, sure. So me, including myself, me and my friends, handshake has been really important for us in terms of finding internships. And for the record, I'd like to mention I was a TA for this professional development class, so I can totally understand the kind of support that we receive from the professors and as well as TAs in the professional development class. Because so whoever is coming to JSOM in the spring, I'd like to tell you this, that apart from the professional guidance that you receive from the career center, one important thing that you'll also receive is connections with your own friends. Because every master's degree in JSOM, every student attends the professional development class. So you will be able to meet a lot of other people from other branches, other majors, and that'll be really helpful because you get to know new people, you get to know their experiences, and you can learn a lot. So if you take a look at someone else's resume, you can learn a lot from that resume. If you see someone else, the way they converse, you can learn a lot from that. And of course, the professors are there to help you, uh, because what happens is when you're here, it's in some ways it's a culture shift. So from India or from any other country, from wherever you're coming, so to the to America, so it's sort of a culture shift. So professional development actually helps you settle down, because that's the first class that most people take in the first semester. So it really helps you settle down. It makes you meet new people of JSOM, and it familiarizes you with the professors, and they will really guide you with how to find further opportunities, work opportunities outside of JSOM. So it'll be
Shashank,
great.
that's perfect. Handshake is our platform, our career posting, job, and internship platform. And so our employers post on Handshake, and that's where students find them. And it's been incredibly successful for our students. You're required to take professional development in the first 12 credit hours. So it is almost always a first semester class. and you will want to definitely be engaged in it. You know, since I happen to teach this class myself, I like to keep my fingers on the pulse of what's going on with our students. It is amazing to me how even our local students really benefit from this experience. I'll give you an example. Have a student in my professional development class this semester. She did an undergraduate degree in petroleum engineering from an out-of-state university. And they did a pretty good job of kind of educating her about her resume. But what they didn't do a good job of is helping her learn how to network so she could get into the type of company that she wanted to be in. You know, once she completed her master's degree. So she came here and she wasn't very eager about taking the professional development class. She did not have any work. Well, she has her first job. She's been employed in her first job since May. And what she's realized is that she didn't understand how to evaluate opportunities so that she could pick a company that was a better fit for her culturally as well as career-wise. And so she has since networked, and we're what, 5 weeks into the semester, 6 weeks into the semester. She has networked with a couple of individuals in the class and now knows how to evaluate it. She has already landed some interview opportunities to kind of transition her petroleum engineering background into a business analytics opportunity inside of an energy company that wasn't petroleum based. So that wouldn't have happened if she hadn't been engaged and met people. And she's a local student. She's a U.S. citizen student. So keep that in mind, because I think that really does enrich the overall experience. Now, I have no doubt that there are many of you that are out there and you're getting excited. Wow, I'm going to start my graduate program, you know, here very soon, and wow, I'm going to be going halfway across the world to do it. Yikes, I'm doing it right in the middle of a global pandemic. Oh my gosh, you know, does course registration, does all of this work the same way in graduate school as it did for my school in South Vietnam or my school at the University of Houston? Well, every school operates a little bit differently with regard to how we help students in terms of organizing and managing their academic journey. So I want to ask Lindsay to talk a little bit about what it is like to engage with your program director, because we have an advising operation that helps you with the mechanics of registering and getting in classes, but so much of what you need in terms of guidance comes from your degree program, from the faculty leaders of your degree programs. And so in Lindsay's case, she's in 2 different programs. So Lindsay, can you talk for a moment about how your program itself is a part of your advising of where you're going and what you're doing?
Sure. I have so much to talk about this because I feel like I have the best program advisor. Well, sorry. Let me start with my accounting major, and my program director is Mary Guan, and she's just the most wonderful and loving people you can ever meet in the entire world. Like, she's so helpful. Like when I consult her with all my degree plans, like what kind of class should I take, and she recommended me to a really good program under accounting, and I fell in love with that program, and I am doing pretty well in that program. And that's the I'll just tell you guys, the internal audit program in UT Dallas is the best internal audit program in the entire world. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, we have so many conferences from all over the country, and we have so many people engaging the program. A lot of employees hire our student, just our student from the internal audit program. And that's what she recommended me to, at first, just to join it, to experience it. And the class was actually very hard at first. I was not doing okay with it. It's all very heavy class load, but I get through it, I put it over, and now I look back at all the experience I've had in that class. I'm just like, I'm so glad I joined the class. Yeah, just like that. Well, they are very patient people, especially Mary Guan. She sat down with you and listened to your needs and what kind of interest you may have for accounting career. Then you guys kind of like design a course book for your degree plan, and she also helped me a lot with my like internship or job hunting because program directors, if you talk to them, sometimes they have very good job opportunities for the student because they talk with all employers and all alumni. They also have companies that hire students. So if you're willing to take the time, talk to them, book appointment with them, they have all good resources you can go look for. And for another program, I have MSITM. Back when I joined the program, the program advisor is still Professor Toon, and I think it was Professor Sheksha as well. And both of them are very helpful. Like they sat down with me, looking through my course book, like see how many classes I need to take to finish both degrees. And they're very patient with me, like listen to what you need and see if they can help in any ways and see what kind of track do you want to take under the each program. And I think they're probably the most helpful people when I'm like completing my both of my degrees, and especially Dr. Professor Guan. She really helped me like when I'm frustrated. I went to her like I can't find an internship, I can't find a job anywhere, and she's just like, look how far you come, look how far you come after you got here, started the program. I was like, wow, like I've never thought it that way because I'm just keep looking ahead and look ahead of me, and there's no way. I feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But when she talked to me, I feel so much better and I feel so much organized and have more targets towards my programs.
You know, Lindsay, I think you've stated it well, and I think that's another one of the really unique aspects of the career journey here. You can go to graduate school at a lot of programs, and you're basically managing your own journey, figuring it all out on your own. And here you have so many resources from the Career Management Center to your professional development instructors to your program directors, and they make a difference in helping guide you and give you that insight and information that you might not otherwise have. Now, Aditi, you are in the analytics program. So you acquired one of Lindsay's former program directors who moved from ITM as a program manager and now is the program director of the business analytics program. So can you talk about Gaurav Shekhar? He is quite a remarkable individual, just like Mary Guan and Mark Thuan are.
So honestly, I need not talk a lot about Professor Shekhar because the students who might be watching this live webinar might be knowing about Professor Shekhar right before like me talking about him. But yeah, like we got this change of our program directors just like a few months back, and honestly, Professor Bill was great, but Professor Gaurav is great as well because he is the most enthusiastic professors I've ever come across. Like, he's such a big support to a student community. Like, he understands our problems well, maybe because he himself is a graduate student from Jindal School. So, like, he's actively involved in all the student organization, which I feel is like a very good thing from a student point of view because we get a lot of insights from him as well. And coming back to the internship opportunities, like I get mails from Professor Gaurav, like maybe one or two mails every week, stating the openings of some companies, maybe because he knows, like he talks to a lot of employers, that's the reason. So he's actively involved, and like we have prompt mails from him. He answers all our queries. So the other day I was having some trouble with the internship opportunity I was getting. Like maybe I was not getting, like, if it's like a scam internship, there are a lot of scammers around here. So I was a little bit stressed about that fact because being an international student, sometimes we are easy targets for scammers. So I just mailed him and then got the reply. Like, he's like so apt in replying. So a big thumbs up for Gaurav Shekhar.
I don't think that Garoff sleeps, and I also don't think Mary Guan sleeps. I think that is certainly the case. So thank you for those insights. I appreciate that. I'd like to talk with Karina Cantua, because I know many of you are going to have questions about the spring 2021 course registration. And then I'm going to also have Karina reach out to Shashank and have him talk about how the advising team helps students work through that. So Karina, I know you're out there somewhere. Karina, can you talk a little bit about the spring course registration and some upcoming events that are going to help these students?
Sure, definitely. Good morning, everyone. Yes, I definitely want to take a little bit of time to talk about important dates that are coming up for the spring 2021 registration. The first one on your screen, that first bullet point, is a notification that there was a change in the first day of class for the spring 2021 semester. It has been changed to January 19th. So just make sure that you make a note of that. If you had already printed a copy of your academic calendar previously, make sure that you go ahead and get an updated copy that shows that correct date as the first day of class, January 19th. And then the next two bullet points on that slide that you're seeing right now are both October 19th. So two things that are very important are going to happen on October 19th. The first one is that the class schedule is going to be released for spring 2021. This is where you're going to see all of the course options, the sections that you can sign up for, the days and times, the instructors who teach those sections. All of the information about the spring schedule is going to be released on the 19th. And then the second thing that's going to happen on that day is that you will have an enrollment date. I know it says enrollment appointment, and that's the official name of that term, but it really is not an appointment. It really is a date and time when you can actually start enrolling in your coursework for the spring 2021 semester. So everyone has a different date of when you can start enrolling. So that's something that will also happen on the 19th. You will be able to see that in the system. Now, if we go to the next slide, I know that I've thrown several terms at you that you may not be familiar with if you were not maybe a UTD student in your undergrad, and if this is your first semester in the spring, but I want you to not worry about it because we are going to have webinar specific to providing you this type of information. We will define what these terms mean. We will define what we recommend that you do each time that you prepare for registration. So please save the date, make a note of either October 19th or October 21st as the webinar that you will be attending, and be on the lookout for that email invite that we will be sending you, because it is important for you to attend these webinars. We're going to give you a lot of the specifics about how this is going to work. I did want to mention that you'll see that it's October 19th and 21st. So that's pretty close to when I said the enrollment date and the schedule would go live. Just so that you are aware, registration does not actually start that day or anytime close to that day. Registration actually starts in the first week of November. So no students are going to be enrolling in October. What that means is that you will have time. When we have these webinars, October 19th or on the 21st, from that point until early November, you're going to have time to view the class schedule, to learn how to, what classes to choose, to get familiar with the system and prepare. So it's not, you have to learn it really quickly. You will have time to prepare. And of course, we will be there to answer questions at the webinar, and then after, from the time that you learn about it till the time that you're ready to register.
Yeah, Karina, thank you so much for that. I think that stating to students that you've got time to kind of figure it all out is really important. Shashank, does it look complicated, and actually it's a lot easier to get enrolled in classes? Can you comment a little bit for the students about it might be overwhelming because you've never done it before at the graduate level, but how the advising operation can help with that, and perhaps how webinars have helped you in order to navigate the registration process?
Yeah, webinars are actually very informative. So you will get to know the entire process of how to register, or what classes are available, or which professors can be taken up, and you can also ask your questions in the webinar, during the webinar, to the concerned people. So it's really helpful, and you can also later connect with other people who were in the webinar to discuss any possible options. So it's really nice. Yeah, webinar
Yeah,
is
and
really
we
helpful.
record the webinars as
Yeah.
well, so you can go back and watch them again in case you need additional clarity in terms of the questions. Now, the one set of dates that we didn't put on the screen in the last slide is that your individual degree programs will be conducting webinars the week of October the 26th. Is that correct, Norma? Is that it's the week of October the 26th, I believe.
Yes, programs will be holding individual webinars to help us with assistance with, picking classes, talking about the different specializations and tracks, and they will also be sending invites via email for you to register to attend.
So you're going to have a lot of time between the time the schedule goes live until the time that you actually register for classes, with a lot of assistance to understand the degree programs. Some degree programs are a little bit more complex than others, but all of them have core classes that are required and then electives where you have option in terms of selection. So you really do want to understand the different tracks or concentrations within a degree so that you can make sure that you're taking the courses that you need that might be prerequisites for later courses that you want to take. So investing time up front will make the whole journey through graduate school much less stressful, and that onus will be upon you. We provide you the venues through the webinars, and we will answer questions until we're blue in the face to make sure that you are helped. So I see that we have maybe 15 minutes left in this webinar, and we want to focus a little bit on some of the questions that you may have as a deferred student. We're living in really an unbelievable time. I think we have traversed it really remarkably here at the Jendal School, and I know that there has been, a lot of stress and frustration for all of us, no matter where we are in the world. And so we send our sympathy and our compassion to everyone who might be watching this who is in some way affected by COVID-19, whether it's job loss or family illness, or certainly the loss of somebody in your family, immediate or extended. So please know that we send our compassionate thoughts to you. So Norma, do we have some questions for this illustrious panel?
We do. So the first question is, what if I don't get a visa before the commencement of classes? Are they able to start from their home country virtually, as people were able to do this fall?
Yes, you would be able to do that, but you need to be a little bit careful. As an incoming first time with your feet on the ground in the U.S. international student, you are going to be required to be in a face-to-face class. That means one of those 3 course modes, whether it's face-to-face, traditional, hybrid, or high flex. So if you aren't able to get a visa in time, then you better make sure that you are enrolled in one of those classes, because then getting a late visa to get here is not going to be possible because you aren't involved in a face-to-face mode instruction. You also need to work very closely with the International Student Services Office and confirm with them about when the arrival points are. Generally, students can arrive at 2 points in a semester. They can either arrive for the first day of class, and you can come in 30 days before that, or you can come at the second 8 weeks, the beginning of the second 8 weeks and 30 days before that. But regardless, if you aren't enrolled in one of the face-to-face modes, you won't even be able to orchestrate a late visa. So be in touch with the International Student Services Office. Make sure that they are giving you the guidance and advice, because they are the experts. And unfortunately, we're not the experts in immigration law. So we want to make sure you get that right.
Is it on the student to decide which class mode they want to take, and will that be visible when they're looking at classes once the schedule comes out?
So Karina, can you tell them how that is visible?
Sure, definitely. So when you look at, and we will see a lot of this information in the enrollment webinars that we're going to be holding, but you essentially will see the class itself, and there's going to be a class note that's attached to each of the classes that is going to show you what mode it is, and it will define. And then we have a lot of literature on the website that basically spells out what each mode is about, so that you can get comfortable with what it means, because I know there's a lot of terminology when it's your first semester that you're not going to be familiar with, but you don't have to memorize it, you don't have to know it, but there is just a lot of places where you can go to get that guidance. But that specific information is going to be linked to the class, and you're going to be able to see what type of course mode the class is.
And for our international students, we are going to make sure that you're in some type of face-to-face class if that is required. Even if you see limitations in the schedule, we're going to make that happen. So we need, we'll talk to you about how to do that if you run into any complexities. We are not short of giving people a ton of information. So you will not be hanging out there or lost. And I know that Lindsay and Sushant and Aditi, I see them shaking their heads. We almost over give information. There are tons of resources, but we have found that giving you information in these webinars is really helpful because we can get, our reach is so big. And then the other thing is the number of students that go back and rewatch the webinars, maybe at 2 a.m. in their pajamas, tends to work pretty well too. I will tell you, I don't answer my phone at 2 a.m. I doubt Karina or her team answers the phone at 2 a.m., but our webinars are available at 2 a.m. So we're going to make sure that you get helped.
This person wants to know if they can join Handshake before enrolling for classes in the spring.
Oh, what a great question. But no, you have to be a UT Dallas student before you can access Handshake.
This next person would like to know how the hybrid study mode might affect their OPT.
So, that's a question for the ISSO, but it won't affect your OPT. The regulations from Homeland Security say that you have to be involved in a face-to-face mode of instruction, and hybrid is a face-to-face mode. Now, if I were an international student, and I'm sort of like one, I was born in Tokyo, and lived all over the world until I grew up. But if you're in a face-to-face mode, we've been told you'll be fine. Now, if I were an international student, I would attend. I would not choose to take that class synchronously and opt to stay at home instead of coming to class on the rotation basis. I would want to be in class when it's my turn to be in class, or when the class is actually meeting in the classroom.
So this person mentioned completing an internship after the 18 credit hours, which is required of some of our degree programs, but they weren't able to join in the fall, and so they won't be able to complete the 18 credits before summer. So how does this affect their internship opportunity for summer?
So if you are in one of 5 MS programs, and Karina, correct me if I get them wrong, business analytics, ITM, management science, marketing, and supply chain. If you're in one of those 5, the fall 2020 catalog says upon completion of 18 credit hours, you must enroll in an internship or the practicum course. So if you cannot start school until January because you deferred, and you take 9 hours in the spring and 9 hours in the summer, then you will be eligible for internship come fall of 2021. Now, remember, you would be taking 10 hours in the spring as opposed to 9, because you have to add on that extra credit of professional development. So you'll really have 19 credit hours. But yes, you will be available to do an internship in the spring.
So this next person asked, what is the probability of campus opening in the spring semester? But I do want to mention that we are open.
We are definitely, in fact, you cannot see it because I'm flying with my drone over the campus right now. I'm actually sitting in my office. We are open. The university is open. We do have students coming to face-to-face classes. Our advising office is open. Our career center is open. The university is open for business, but we are really a very fortunate institution. virtually no incidents of COVID in our students. I know that you've probably heard, campuses having 2,000 people exposed. We have not had that. Thank you very much. Part of that is certainly the result of our protocol. But campus is open, and it will be open in the spring. Now, does it look like it did at the beginning of spring of 2020? Not quite. But there are still students that are walking around with their face masks on. They're studying in our building. You see people that are gathering outside, social distancing so they can get together with friends. So we're still very much open for business. It just doesn't quite look like it hopefully will look by fall of 2021.
This next question is for Karina. Karina, as an international student, can I register for classes in November with holds on my account?
Yes, we actually are going to be pushing holds back and releasing holds so that we can allow all of our students, regardless of international or domestic, to be able to start enrolling as soon as their enrollment date and time happens. You will actually be able to add your courses for your spring semester.
So you might see holds right now, but those holds are going to go away before registration opens. For our international students, just keep in mind that the hold for the TB test is being released, but that hold will be put back on January the 11th, which will mean that you really need to get that TB test very quickly, because that will end up disabling your ability to enroll in classes for summer of 2021. So just keep that in mind. We want to make it as easy as possible for you guys to get enrolled. And that's why we conduct these big webinars to really go over the specifics, both from an actual transactional perspective as well as the degree program perspective.
We've had a couple people ask if they will be required to quarantine for 14 days when they enter the US.
I don't know if I can really answer that question. I think that the proper protocol is that you quarantine for 14 days. I don't know if that's a requirement of immigration, but it would be my recommendation. Your visa allows you to come in 30 days in advance of the start date, so there is plenty of time for you to quarantine. So I would encourage any student to do that. Whether it's officially required, I don't know the answer to that question.
If a student wants to take 4 courses in the first semester with professional development being the 5th one, is that allowed?
Yes, absolutely. We have a lot of students who will take 13 credit hours their first semester.
All righty. And then when will orientation be announced?
You'll get an email invitation to orientation. That's my baby. I love orientation, and it'll be fun to welcome all of you guys. So, thank you for that thumbs up, Aditya. So yes, those will be announced shortly. We have a lot of fun in welcoming our students and engaging our students when we do that. So you'll get emails about orientation. So you do have to pay attention to your email. We do send a lot of email, so you'll want to pay attention to that. I do hope that for those of you that are here in the United States and those that are abroad, I hope that maybe one of your loved ones is in the background listening to our presentation today, be it a spouse or a mom or a dad or a grandmama or a great aunt or uncle, or I don't know, maybe your dog or your partner, your girlfriend. I just want to give a message to all of those people who are supporting the students that are deferred. I can say with great clarity and that it is a great honor and privilege to have students select our school for their graduate school destination. And when they are with us, we will take very good care of them. And we really do. You would think that a school as big as ours does not have an opportunity for somebody like me in the dean's office, the senior associate dean for the school, to actually know students. But I know students, and I take great pride in being able to call them out by name. Now, can I know 4,000 students? No, but those students that make an effort and get engaged and get involved, we're a place that gets to know people and gives our students individual attention. So I'm just going to throw that out there to all of those who might be actually not deferred, but trying to support the person who is deferred. So do we have one final question, Norma, before we shut this one down and look forward to the next ones?
We do. So students, I've had a couple questions about TA and RA positions for incoming students and if they're eligible.
So you can apply for TA and RA positions. You cannot have a TA or RA if you're not in this country. So that's number one. And there is a location on our website. If you go to the Jendal School website and you type into the search bar employment, then that will take you to the TA RA application. They are pretty competitive. And I will tell you, just so that you know, we are always in the business of managing expectations. TA ships very rarely, if ever, go to a brand new student. The faculty want TAs and RAs who have done really well in their classes to help students who are going through their classes. So it's typically not awarded to an incoming student. Now, there are campus jobs. Those are a little different under this COVID time, as we don't have as many, but we do have campus jobs as well.
So I would want to mention to everybody, if there are any unanswered questions, to go ahead and email us at jindal, JINDAL, at utdallas.edu, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. So I don't know if you have any closing remarks.
You know, I just want to thank Sushant and Aditi and Lindsay. These are three really busy students that are smart, successful, big champions of their school. I know that they have many other better things to do than coming to spend an hour with us. So thank you for taking time out of your day. I know how you value being a part of paying it forward to other students. So I just want to thank you for making time to come. I look forward to seeing some of you in some upcoming student org meetings. And then Karina, thank you to you and your team for always being so supportive and for making the impossible happen. And of course, these webinars would not happen without the amazing Norma behind the screen. So Norma, thank you for being with us. And please, if you have questions, don't hesitate to email us. We're glad to answer those questions. If we get inundated, it might take us, a day or two. So give us a little bit of time to do that. But we thank you for spending time with us today. We cannot wait for you to be a part of the graduate school experience here. And again, it's coming fast. Get ready, do your research, and we cannot wait to have you on board. So thank you, all of you, for attending. And for our panel, thank you for being with us this morning. Take care, everybody. Bye.